Not having good hip mobility increases your risk of injury and chronic pain. But you're watching the right video to solve this issue. I'll discuss what causes poor hip mobility and how to fix it through 9 awesome exercises. And you'll also find out how long it will take to see results. Let's start. What causes poor hip mobility? Poor hip mobility can sneak up on you, and it's typically a result of your daily habits. If you find yourself sitting for long hours, like at a desk job or during commutes, you're at risk. This sedentary lifestyle tightens your hip flexors and weakens your glute muscles, limiting your hips' range of motion. But it's not just about sitting too much. If you're not incorporating enough variety in your exercises, or perhaps not exercising at all, your hip mobility can take a hit. Overdoing certain workouts or sticking to improper form can also strain your hips, leading to imbalance and stiffness. And let's not forget the natural aging process, which can gradually reduce your flexibility and muscle mass around the hips. Even past injuries in the hip area can leave their mark, contributing to restricted movement. So, can hip mobility be fixed? Absolutely, hip mobility can be improved. Your hips are surrounded by a dynamic network of muscles, tendons, and ligaments that can be stretched, strengthened, and conditioned to enhance flexibility and range of motion. Incorporating specific hip mobility exercises into your routine allows you to loosen tight hip flexors, strengthen weak areas, and promote overall hip health. Regular practice can improve your current hip mobility and protect against future tightness and discomfort. How long does it take to improve hip mobility? Generally, you might start noticing improvements within a few weeks of regular, targeted mobility exercises. However, significant changes and more substantial increases in range of motion could take several months of consistent effort. Also, improving hip mobility is a gradual process, and the time it takes can vary widely depending on factors like your current level of flexibility, your commitment to a consistent exercise routine, and your body's unique response to those exercises. But what happens if you don't fix hip mobility? Neglecting hip mobility can lead to a cascade of negative effects on your overall health and quality of life. Limited hip mobility can increase the strain on other parts of your body, leading to compensatory movements that may result in back, knee, or shoulder pain. Over time, this imbalance can contribute to a higher risk of injuries, especially during physical activities or exercises. Moreover, restricted hip movement can impair your ability to perform everyday tasks naturally, such as bending, walking, or climbing stairs, ultimately affecting your independence and daily comfort. In the long run, the lack of hip mobility can contribute to a sedentary lifestyle, further exacerbating stiffness and weakening muscles, creating a cycle that's hard to break. Therefore, addressing hip mobility helps you maintain overall functional movement and quality of life as you age. Here are 9 exercises you can try. 1. Hip circles decrease hip pain, especially when it has been caused by tightness or overuse. Loosening up your hips decreases tension and increases your range of motion and flexibility. 2. Pigeon pose is a yoga-inspired move that opens your hips, stretching your hip flexors and lower back. This is a great stretch for mobility and flexibility, especially if you have lower back pain or hip pain from a sedentary lifestyle. 3. Butterfly stretches loosen your hips and inner thighs, reducing tension in your pelvic floor muscles. These are great for mobility, flexibility, and hip pain. Besides, butterfly stretches are great if you want to improve your pelvic floor function. 4. Lunges and squats are great because you don't just have to stretch your hips, you also have to strengthen them. If you already have hip pain or are recovering from an injury, ask your doctor whether you can perform these moves. Otherwise, lunges and squats will strengthen your glutes and hip flexors to prevent pain. That's because sometimes sitting too much translates into weak glutes, which means your hip flexors have to overcompensate, which makes them tighter. However, working out your legs and glutes the pressure off your hips. 5. Planks and glute bridges are also great exercises for hip health, even if they primarily strengthen your core. But again, if you have a weak core, you might push your hips forward in a sway-back posture and overstretch your hips. Of course, that ultimately leads to hip pain and lower back pain. However, corrective exercises like planks and glute bridges can help you deal with this problem. 6. Frog stretches are also great for hip mobility because they stretch very tight hip flexors. Basically, they're reverse butterfly stretches, but this time, your body weight intensifies the stretch. 7. The horse stance is a great way to not just stretch the hips, but also to strengthen them. And the great thing about the horse stance is that you'll also work out your glutes, legs, abs, and lower back, all of which help stabilize the hips. You can watch our horse stance video if you're curious to learn why I love it so much. 8. Hip CARs, or controlled articular rotations, are a functional mobility exercise designed to increase the range of motion and control in the hip joints through slow, deliberate movements. 9. 90 to 90 hip openers are also great because they target hip flexibility, mobility, and strength, focusing on both the internal and external rotation of the hip joints. We've covered a lot today, from the causes of poor hip mobility to a comprehensive set of exercises designed to enhance your flexibility, strength, and overall hip health. Remember, consistency is key, and incorporating these exercises into your regular routine can lead to significant improvements over time. If you found this video helpful and learned something new, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more insightful content. But we're not just here to talk, we want to hear from you too. Have you tried any of these hip mobility exercises? Do you have any go-to moves that have worked wonders for your hips? Share your experiences in the comments below, and let's help each other stay mobile, healthy, and active.